you are coming out of the wilderness. You did it. And I was just like, oh my God. And I still can't believe that I was able to endure it. Hey guys, good morning. How are you? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shalane, and this is pretty much me just sharing my walk with God. And I wanted to come on here real quick. So I'm doing this journal series where I come on and I share just what the Lord has been teaching me, my experiences just on a daily basis, weekly, just walking with God. So I don't know if you're new here, thank you for watching. If you have been watching before, thank you for remaining. I hope you'll hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video. I purposely post once a week. And yes, so today I want to talk about expectation and where is our expectation. And I don't know if you've watched my previous videos where I mentioned that I stepped out in faith last October. And after the Lord had been just speaking to me about stepping away from my job, I wasn't sure why. I had my own idea, my own expectation, but all he told me was to move. He didn't give me anything else to work with. And I really had to rely on what I knew to be true about God, his faithfulness, his love, knowing that he's ultimately in control. So if he's telling me to move from a place where he provided, then he's going to take me to somewhere else where he will also sustain and provide for me. And that decision was a very difficult decision for me, like really difficult, but I made it through faith. I made the decision and I stepped out. And the journey hasn't been an easy journey. It has been the most challenging journey, most challenging times in my life. And I really had to truly learn to depend on God, like truly, because outside of him, nothing makes sense. The only time things seemed to make sense was when I was in the presence of God, when I was talking to him, when he was talking to me, and just that relationship that I established with God was the only thing that made sense. Because I won't go into all the details because I went over them previously, but throughout the journey, it's been 9 months. So I'm currently still not even working. It's been 9 months since I've been on this journey. And something that really, at first I thought the Lord was taking me from my job so as to have a business. So I thought, okay, maybe I'm stepping away to focus on the business and the business will blow up and become successful and so forth, so forth. That's what I thought. Maybe that's what I was hoping for. But throughout the journey, I realized that it wasn't about the business why the Lord called me out of my job. It was about me, molding me and making me into the person he has called me to be. It was about me learning to truly trust and depend on him, knowing that I don't know if you've ever read Deuteronomy 8, where he told them that, look, I brought you into the wilderness, not to punish you, but to humble you so I can know what's in your heart. So as to prepare you and show you that men do not live by bread alone, but they live by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of the Lord. Look, for this 9 months, I had to live by every word that came out of the Lord's mouth. That's how I was able to endure. That's how I was able to keep going. That's how I was able not to look back, but press forward at the things ahead and not looking back for the things past, as Paul said in I think in Philippians. So it's not an easy journey, to say the least. And this morning I wanted to share this video because Monday of this week, the last month in December, the Lord told me that it's gonna get more challenging. For the new year started, he told me it's gonna get more difficult. You will have to hold on. You will have to really endure. But by June, you're gonna start smiling. So I didn't know what that meant, but I was thinking, okay, so maybe by June my business is gonna take off or some miraculous thing is gonna happen by June. So I was holding on and fighting because I know the Lord told me, just endure, just endure. Once you endure, then it will all make sense. So I kept, look, it was not easy. I was at the point where, thank God I am married, so my husband was able to step in and take care of the bills, certain bills, so that I didn't have my phone cut off, or I had food on my table still. I can say that I was never hungry. He always provided. And the Lord truly used him to really supply and take care of our family in this time where it would have been difficult for me to hold up my hand of the bargain as it relates to contributing financially. And what I can say is, even in the midst of me not working, when I left my job, I only had enough to supply for a month. But the Lord had provided, found a way, and I was able to pay my bills. Right now, as I'm speaking with you, I do have bills that need to be paid, but I'm only behind a month. I've been home 9 months. And I didn't leave with any savings or anything. And when I tell you I'm only behind a month, I'm only behind a month. Yes, I had to cut down some of my expenses. But the Lord has truly have been a supplier of my needs. Truly have been providing. I've never been hungry. I've never been restless thinking about how I'm going to eat or I'm going to nothing. The Lord truly has been faithful to me. And I just want to give him the glory this morning. So as I was saying, he told me in June. So as June was approaching, I was a bit fearful to hold on to that promise that he gave me, because I'm like, God, you always make these promises, but you never really give a date. So for you to tell me by June, I don't know what to expect. And as I was getting closer to June, I realized that nothing around me was changing. My business wasn't even starting to pick up or anything. So I'm like, God, how are you going to do this? What are you going to do in June? June is right here, and I don't seem like everything is changing. If anything, I look like I'm getting further from the promise. I feel like Joseph when he interpreted the dream, and I am assuming in that moment he started to feel so hopeful, because he's just like, okay, I interpret the dream, they're gonna go put in a word for me and I'll get out of this prison. But instead of getting out of the prison, the baker forgot about him, forgot that he was there for 2 more years. And I was there, I'm like, God, and it seems like he was getting further away from that dream, that vision, that promise that the Lord gave him. And that's how I felt. I felt like the closer I was getting to June, the further I was getting away from that promise, because the Lord told me to stop everything in May. Told me to stop working on the business, stop everything, and just rest in him and seek him. I didn't know what to do with that at first, because I'm like, God, there's so much I need to do by June. Because I was thinking, I have to do all this work so that the Lord can use what I'm doing to bless me or to take me out of this wilderness season. And as I was trying to just meet deadlines and do these things and get these things done, the Lord told me to stop. And I'm like, God, how can I stop now? I need to do this. I need to finish this. And he was like, stop. And he reminded me that nothing I do, I cannot work for anything that he promised. It's not a result of my ability. It's through his grace. And he reminded me that it's through his grace we're able to do anything. We're not able to do anything on our own. All the Lord requires of us is to be obedient and to remain faithful and to trust him and to allow him to lead us, because it's through him leading us that we're able to step in and do the things that we can do to facilitate what he is doing. But it's not to cause it to happen, because it cannot happen unless the Lord ordained it to happen. It will not happen unless the Lord allow it to happen. And this is what he reminded me while I was trying to toil away. I started to feel so overwhelmed, like I have all this, need to do this. Like I had this checklist going off, like I have to do this by June so that the Lord can do what he has to do. And he really just slowed me all the way down and said, look, stop. Because anything I do will not be as a result of anything you do. All I want you to do is just lean into me. Allow me to pour into you. Allow me to be God in control. And it took me a while to accept it, to be honest. It took me a few days, like, God, why? What are you doing? Because I'm thinking, if I don't do what I have to do, then the blessing is not going to come the way I was expecting it. Can I be honest with you? I was expecting by June, my business will take off and I start to have some money flowing and, things will start to look better for me. And as I was getting closer to June, I realized nothing was changing. But I have this word. But my circumstances didn't look like the word. I'm like, God, what are you doing? So of course I began to feel a little bit frustrated. Can I be honest? I began to feel weary. And I just really was not in the best place, but I tried to remain hopeful. I tried to praise my way through it. And I just kept holding on to God. I really just kept holding, no matter what I was feeling, because believe me, the feelings were there. But no matter what I was feeling, I kept holding on to God. I'm like, God, if you don't do this, it cannot be done. If you don't hold me, I cannot make it. And I kept holding on to him and kept believing and kept holding on to his word, because he reminded me a few months ago that his word is above everything. His word is final. What he says is it. So I held on to the word no matter what it looked like around me. I kept holding on to the word. When the bills were coming in and I know that I don't have the money to pay them, I kept holding on to the word. When my marriage just seemed like it's going under, Can I just be honest with you? Everything was, no business was working, no money coming in. My marriage just seemed like it was at its worst. Well, is at its worst, because I keep saying was. Because you know why I'm saying was? I'll get to why I'm saying was. But anyway, it's now. What I'm talking about is now. This is what I'm experiencing in this moment. But I am rejoicing nonetheless. So that's why I'm saying was. Because I know that God is going to do something miraculous. I know that there's gonna be a transformation. I know that. So that's why I'm saying was, but this is currently my circumstances. My marriage is not going great. My finances is non-existent, and nothing is happening that would manifest on the outside to say, oh yes, God is working. But can I tell you that I have a testimony, and I have a knowing, and I have the peace and a joy and just this spiritual awakening, knowing that God is working it all out even as I speak, knowing that God is gonna transform everything, and it's gonna just blow my mind, and the people around me gonna see that God is a faithful God, is a just God. And this is one of the reasons why the Lord has led me to share, because oftentimes we hear the testimony when the person is on the other side, when God had already did it. And as the Lord purposed me to share this, he wants you to see that when you trust in him, no matter what it is, once you remain in him, then he's sure to do everything that he says. And this is the confidence I'm standing in. I'm not yet seeing it. I'm still not working. My business is still failing. My marriage is still on the rocks. But can I tell you that I know that's not gonna be my future? Can I tell you that I know that I'm in a new season, even though nothing has yet changed around me? It is not yet manifested in the natural. But can I just tell you that I know that I'm in a new season, and it is indeed a new horizon? And this is when you are so in line with the Spirit of God, then the Spirit of God is able to give you that assurance, that peace, that joy, to know that your confidence in God, your confidence in God, your faith in God, your expectation is in God. And once you place those things in the Lord, then you don't have to worry. Yes, you might look at the circumstances and say, Lord, like Peter when he was walking on the water. He was walking on the water when he was focused on God. The moment he started to look at the waves roaring and can feel the wind blowing and so forth, that's when he started to sink, when he started to focus on the circumstances. And the Lord wants us to not so much to focus on the circumstances, but to keep our eyes focused on him, because he's the one who will see us through. He is the one who will make a way when there is no way. And I'm just sharing this and with joy, because on Monday the Lord told me that my will, I'm coming out of the wilderness. On Monday I was in the gym, and the last couple of weeks have been brutal for me. So brutal. I've just been so overwhelmed with just what my circumstances look like and what the Lord is telling me, and they just don't seem like they go together. And I just felt like I felt like I was just losing hope just a little bit. And I had to pick myself up and say, God, no, you are a man of your word. In Isaiah 55, you said, once your word go forth, it will do exactly what it was purposed to do. it will not return to you voice. I said, God, I know that you are the God who have been speaking to me. I know that you are the God of Abraham and Jacob. I know that you are the God of Moses. So if you are my God, because you're the same yesterday, today, and forevermore, then I have to be confident that no matter what it looks like, like Abraham, when he was waiting for the seed, God promised him that his descendants would be like the stars in the sky and the sun and the ground, yet he had no seed. Can you imagine holding on to such a promise, yet there's nothing in the natural? You're getting old, your wife is getting old, and you can't see how it is going to be possible, but yet holding on. And Abraham tried to make it happen, and the Lord has to step in and say, look, you cannot. Like I was trying to make things happen. You will not be able to make what I have purpose happen. It's I who do it, not you. And even though Abraham went ahead in his own strength, in his own understanding, and tried to make the promise of God come to pass, the Lord said, look, this child Ishmael is not the promise. The promise is the son that you will bear as a result of you and Sarah coming together. And he had Isaac, and Isaac was the child of the promise. And if that wasn't enough, the Lord told him to sacrifice Isaac on the Mount Moriah. Can you imagine the Lord giving you a promise, giving you the promise now? You can see it tangible, and then he's telling you to give it back to him. But that is how you know God, because Abraham knew that this promise, God is a man of his word, and the promise will stand. So if the Lord is telling me to give him Isaac, I'm going to give him Isaac, because he's going to have to give him back to me or give me another child. But the promise must come to pass. So Abraham, I don't know what he must have been thinking, but he was obedient. He brought Isaac to the mountain, and the moment he was about to cut him, to sacrifice him, the angel of the Lord stopped him and said, look, now that I know that you fear the Lord, because you put the Lord above even your only son. Can I just remind you that in order for you to hold steadfast, the Lord has to be above everything, everything you desire, everything you want, everything that you hold so dearly. The Lord has to go. Your desire and your reverence for the Lord has to be above everything else for you to truly see the fullness of God manifested. And as I am saying this, the Lord told me Monday that, look, you have endured. You made it. And yes, the battle is not over. So when I say you made it, this is me talking, not necessarily the Lord saying that. I'm just saying the Lord basically said, you are coming out of the wilderness. This is what he said spiritually to me. You are coming out of the wilderness. You did it. And I was just like, oh my God. And I still can't believe that I was able to endure it. And I remember in April, the Lord said to me that I was asking, I'm like, God, why do I have to do this? What is happening? And he reminded me that to walk in his purpose, to live according to his will, the old me had to have to die. The whole you have to die, so that the new you can be created. When you start to walk with God, you realize that he starts to strip away the things that once made you who you are, so that the new you can come forth. And he reminded me that this season, I'm not trying to punish you. I'm not trying to weary you or cause you to lose hope. I'm trying to bring out that which I have purposed in you from you were created. I'm trying to bring out the new you. So as I am working on you, it's going to be painful. It's going to hurt, because I'm stripping away. It's like a part of you is dying so that a part of you can be born. And he reminded me of when I was giving birth to my daughter. And he said, remember how painful it was. Remember, oh, you thought you were going to die. Because can I tell you that I thought I was going to die in childbirth? It was so painful. I didn't get epidural, and I thought I was just gonna die. Like, really, like, I'm like, God, yes, this is it. I'm done. I cannot do this. And he said, remember how you felt like you were gonna die because the pain was just so intense? But you knew, as when the nurse said, look, you have to push, you can't stop. You had to keep pushing. You had to endure the pain, because at the end of the pain, on the other side of the pain, is the blessing, is the birth of your child. That the Lord reminded me that, look, yes, this time is painful because a part of you is dying. The part of you that you held on so close to for so many years is dying. And I'm bringing out the new you. And in order for the new you to be birthed, that part of you have to die. And that part of you dying is painful. It's uncomfortable. You don't want it. But it is necessary for you to live in my will and to be who I created you to be. And that is exactly what it is. And when I think about it, I've been home for 9 months. It takes 9 months to birth a child. And this is the significance of how the Lord really works. And now I can tell you that he says I'm out of the wilderness, and I'm rejoicing. I'm glad that I really endured. Above all things, I'm just glad that I didn't give up. I'm glad I didn't look back. I'm glad I stuck it out. And it was not me, but it was the strength of God. It was his presence. It was his grace and his mercy that kept me. I had to remain quiet for a long time. I had to just allow the Lord to fight in a lot of my circumstances, but I surrendered to his will, because I know in the end he will turn it all out for my good. He will make it make sense even when it doesn't make sense. I tried not to lean on my own understanding, but to trust in the faithfulness and the love of God. The scripture in Psalms 139 says his thoughts towards us are so precious, and there are many, more than we can ever number. So I know that whatever I might be going through, whatever you might be going through, it's not there to take you under, but it's there to birth something that you don't even know that you are carrying. And I'm stepping out on the other side. And the Lord didn't only tell me that it's over. He gave me the ministry that he's going to birth through me. He gave me so many things to come that I'm like, God, you are a good God. So you know what? My expectation is no longer in the promise. My expectation is no longer seeing the business prosper or seeing this financial thing come through. Like, yes, these are things that we need, but that's no longer my expectation. My expectation is in my God and whatever he has in store for me. That's what I'm expecting. So I'm not telling you that, oh, I'm out of the wilderness and yes, I look into my bank account and there's so much money, or I get a job offer the moment. No, there's no manifested miracle for that I can tell you that is here. But can I tell you that the manifestation is internal, because I'm a new creation in Christ? Like, I'm a new person. I can feel it in every fiber of my being. Just the things I desire, the things, like, there's just a newness in me that I wouldn't have been able to attain unless the Lord had brought me through this birthing process. And I'm grateful. I'm rejoicing today that I did not give up. I held on. And I'm telling you, like, I will be here as a living testimony that when you put God in front, then he will take care of all of your desire, because he's going to do everything more than I can ever imagine. But today, I'm just glad for the work that he did in me over this past 9 months. And I'm relieved to be out of the, can I tell you that I'm relieved to be out of the wilderness? And I know the battle is not over, because the enemy is always there. There will be a challenge. And he told me this, even in the midst of telling me that, look, you're stepping out. Now it's time for you to go out and do the work. Because he's called me for a work. There's a work to be done. But he reminded me that don't try to figure it out, because I have this tendency wanting to see the big picture and try to figure out every step leading to the big picture. So don't try to figure it out. Just allow me to lead you. You have to remain in me for all of that to unfold. And this is why this thing is called the unfolding. He told me that this is the unfolding of my work, the unfolding of what I'm doing. And he said, it's not a race, it's a marathon. You gotta remain in me. You gotta listen to me. You'll have to allow me to guide you. So I'm not saying it's over, that I will not have any more challenges. I said, I'm not in the wilderness anymore. Like the children of Israel, they got out of the wilderness and they're at Jordan and they're about to break down the wall of Jericho. That's where I'm positioned right now. I'm about to break down the wall of Jericho and step into the promise. And I'm rejoicing. I'm grateful because I didn't give up, and I allowed the Lord to be my guide, to harden my step right through and through. And I'm grateful that I didn't listen to the noise around me and listen to the people around me telling me this and telling me that. Yes, I was at a point where I felt foolish. Can I tell you that I was afraid to tell anyone what I was doing, because it just seemed like it makes no sense. Unless you're in the spirit, you just would not understand the things that I was willing to sacrifice to remain in the will of God. But ultimately, I held on. Even though I looked foolish to many, even though what I was doing made no sense in the natural, I knew what the Lord had placed in me, and I held on. And I'm just glad that I didn't disappoint God. I'm glad that I stuck it out. I'm glad that he saw in me what I would not have seen in myself. Because if someone would have told me that I would be able to do this, I would say, you're lying. I could never. But I'm standing on the other side knowing that, and I don't I not only said yes, but I endured through the power and the grace and the mercy of God. I'm rejoicing this morning. And I just want to share this just to encourage you that no matter how difficult your circumstances get, no matter how bad it might seem, there is an end date. Yes, you might be in the wilderness for a long time, but there is an end date. And even if you can't perceive the end date, even if the Lord doesn't reveal to you the end date yet, you need to remain in him. You need to be obedient, because yes, you will not stop your destiny. We can actually stop our destiny if we are disobedient. Can we just say that? We can stop our destiny if we were. The enemy cannot stop you and stop what the Lord purposed, but we can stop what the Lord purposed because we don't obey. The children of Israel, a lot of them did not make it to the promised land because of their disobedience and their unbelief. A lot of them died in the wilderness, not because the Lord wasn't faithful to his promise, but because they were disobedient. They weren't worthy to step into the promise. So the Lord did not allow them to step into the promise. So how you get through the wilderness and to the promised land, you diligently seek him. And I wrote this down in my journal. And as I said, this is real. This is not something that this is my life. This is what I'm experiencing. And as the Lord was talking to me in Isaiah 55 and Proverbs verse 13, how you remain in him is you diligently seek him. You listen to what he has to say. You move according to his counsel. Allow him to lead you. And then you allow him to feed your soul. Your soul become fat in his fullness and his love and his peace and his joy. And then you reap the reward. Then you step out of the promise, the wilderness into the promise. You have to hold on to God. You have to seek him like you've never seeked him before. You have to remain in him like you've never remained in him before. You have to trust him like you've never trusted him before. You have to pray earnestly for strength. And his grace and his mercy is truly made perfect in our weakness. And he will keep you and he will help you and you will make it. So don't give up. I'm telling you, this is my testimony. Don't give up. And I'm excited to see what's behind my Jericho wall. Because let me tell you, my God is faithful and he's good and his word is true. And I know he will do exactly that which he said. So as I leave you today, I just want to tell you thank you for watching this video if you've made it to the end, and I hope it encourages you. I hope it blesses you, and I hope it helps you to hold on no matter what the circumstance might be. And I will be sharing this journey. I will be sharing with you everything, because I trust God and he has led me here for a reason, and I want his will to be done. It's not about me, but it's about the lives that need to be changed, the people who need to be encouraged. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye.